Hello everyone and welcome to my BTG CBS update channel. On a crisp winter afternoon in Fairmont Crest, Dani and Nicole wandered into Uptown after a long day of Christmas shopping, their arms laden with bags filled with festive finds. Nicole sighed deeply as they settled at a cozy table, calling the whole experience utterly overwhelming amid the bustling crowds and twinkling lights. Dani tilted her head, teasing her sister about when exactly she had turned into such a full-blown Scrooge, her eyes sparkling with that familiar sibling mischief. Nicole didn't hesitate, pinpointing the shift right to the moment Leslie had shattered her marriage, though she quickly admitted she was just indulging in a massive pity party for herself. Dani nodded with genuine understanding, her voice softening as she shared how she'd felt the same dark cloud last Christmas, grappling with the raw pain of Bill leaving her for Haley. But Dani reassured her sister that, tough as it was to celebrate the holidays without Ted for the first time, Nicole would rise above it, just like Dani had managed to do, finding joy again in unexpected places. As they sipped their warm drinks, Nicole gently tried to dial back Dani's bubbling excitement about her possibly moving forward with Carlton, or even that charming doctor who'd accompanied Nicole to Winterfest. Dani pressed playfully, demanding to know why on earth her sister was dragging her feet on dating Carlton. Nicole's eyes widened as she dropped the bombshell about the incredibly romantic indoor picnic Carlton had orchestrated just for her, complete with thoughtful touches that made her heart flutter. Dani lit up with delight, even more so upon hearing that Nicole had mustered the courage to lean in and kiss him first. Yet Nicole hesitated about inviting Carlton to Dani's upcoming Christmas party, knowing full well the Duprees would grill the surgeon relentlessly with their endless questions. The thoughtful psychiatrist also worried about going public with Carlton too soon, especially since she was quietly keeping her options open with Kyle, that handsome escort from Winterfest. Dani paused, considering how Kat might react, already struggling with the family's reshuffled dynamics after attending Dani's gathering instead of Martin's because of Eva's pull. Seeing her mother arrive on someone's arm other than her father's could be too much for the young girl to handle right now. Nicole smiled gratefully, appreciating her sister's insight, and mentioned how nice it was that Andre, who'd only popped into town for sporadic holiday visits since his parents' passing, was now stepping up to host alongside Dani. Back at home later that evening, Nicole picked up her phone and dialed Carlton, curious about his plans, only to learn he was heading to a sweet Christmas pageant with his young niece. She responded with a warm, understanding smile over the line, though a flicker of clear disappointment crossed her face as she hung up. Over at Garland Memorial Hospital, Leslie strode confidently into the nurse's station, her mood lifting upon hearing that Ashley and Jan had thoroughly enjoyed Winterfest. Ashley beamed her thanks for the tickets Leslie had provided, adding that Jan was now sailing away on a delightful Love Boat-themed cruise. Leslie skillfully sidestepped Shanice while inquiring about Peach's latest condition, but Shanice interjected firmly that Peaches was resting comfortably under careful watch. Once Leslie departed, Shanice vented her frustration, recounting Leslie's most recent tantrum over being barred from smuggling a live Christmas tree into Peach's room, strictly against hospital rules for patient safety. Shanice mused aloud that perhaps Leslie just needed an outlet for her anger, with her beloved mother stuck in a hospital bed through the holidays. In Peach's room, the elderly woman, oxygen mask still in place, shook her head gently, trying desperately to catch Leslie's eye as her daughter launched into a heated rant about Shanice constantly blocking her efforts. Leslie eventually calmed, drawing a genuine smile from Peaches as she reminisced about those blizzard-bound days in their cramped apartment, where a hyperactive young Leslie had tested every ounce of Peach's patience. Leslie admitted she'd been a real handful back then, and truthfully still was, before expressing deep gratitude for Peach's unwavering effort and love in raising her despite the challenges. Leslie then pulled out a delicate ice skates ornament she'd purchased for little Eva, now an avid skating enthusiast, and shared how their Chicago tradition of gliding around Millennium Park had created priceless memories without needing lavish spending. She thanked Peaches profoundly for teaching her that true holiday magic didn't require money, especially now amid the bougie circles she and Eva navigated. Though relieved that Ted had taken Eva skating on the fancy rink built on the golf course, Leslie let out a wistful sigh, feeling pushed to the sidelines as Eva forged new traditions with her father. Suddenly, Peaches firmly removed her mask and declared it all hogwash, her voice weak but resolute. Down at the nurse's station, Shanice commended Ashley for her authentic passion in nursing, while Ashley admired how Shanice, as a skilled physical therapist, had coaxed Derek back toward mobility with the perfect blend of empathy and firm encouragement. Noticing Shanice had volunteered for the Christmas shift, Ashley generously offered to cover it instead, wanting something meaningful to occupy her time with Derek away and her own mother out of town. Shanice accepted appreciatively but urged Ashley to move past Derek and consider who she might want waiting under her tree this year. In a sweet gesture, Ashley handed Shanice her Christmas gift a bit early. Shanice unwrapped it puzzled, revealing a container marked for human organs, only for Ashley to burst into laughter, explaining it was actually packed with luxurious lotions, a clever ruse to deter the constant thieves swiping Shanice's lunches from the fridge. Shanice declared it incredibly thoughtful and pulled her friend into a warm hug. Shanice then delivered a cheerful artificial poinsettia to Peaches. Admiring the explosion of Christmas decor Leslie had managed to sneak in, and noting how obvious the family's deep care shone through. Leslie returned just then, grumbling that Shanice could bring plants but she couldn't. Shanice explained calmly that faux flora wouldn't irritate Peaches' sensitive breathing like real ones might. Peaches shook her head once more at Leslie's ongoing dramatics, a faint smile tugging at her lips. Meanwhile, Andre met Vernon at the Elegant Country Club, proudly presenting the beautifully restored 1970s newspaper photo capturing Anita and Vernon's very first encounter. Vernon chuckled, confirming the long-standing Dupree women's tradition of hunting down hidden Christmas gifts far too early, prompting Andre to volunteer his condo as a secure hiding spot for Vernon's surprise. When Vernon curiously asked why Andre still maintained his own place despite marrying Dani, Andre quickly reassured his father-in-law that he planned to rent it out soon, certainly not for clandestine rendezvous with other women. Vernon then shared that Bill had strayed before Haley ever entered the picture. Andre, fully aware of his own past playboy ways, vowed earnestly to remain faithful to Dani. Vernon noted how Bill's ego demanded being the absolute center of Dani's universe, and Andre quipped that his heart didn't exactly ache for his predecessor, especially aware of Bill's lingering attention toward Dani, and Haley's sharp awareness of it too. Andre smirked, observing that Bill had married his mirror image in Haley, who wouldn't tolerate any hovering, but Vernon cautioned Andre not to rely on her alone to handle it. He affirmed he was fully behind Andre and Dani's future, and Andre's face glowed with visible joy as Vernon extended a firm handshake. Back home, Andre meticulously finished decorating the vibrant pink Christmas tree he and Dani had chosen, just as she arrived. They both celebrated Vernon's enthusiasm for the restored photo gift, though Dani playfully suggested they unwrap a few presents of their own in the bedroom before guests arrived. At the Grand Dupree manse, Anita warmly welcomed Sharon and Tracy inside, having finally confided in them about her recent biopsy. Tracy echoed Anita's earlier optimistic words that the breast mass was far more likely benign, drawing from her own anxious wait a few years back. Sharon shared how she distracted Tracy then with an epic Denzel Washington movie marathon. Anita felt a pang of regret for not being there during that scare, but Tracy brushed it off with no lingering resentment. As Tracy promised grand celebrations once Anita's results confirmed negative, Sharon's gaze lingered thoughtfully on a framed photo of Anita and Vernon. Anita opened up about the immense difficulty of concealing her worries from Vernon, her children and grandchildren, fearing unnecessary alarm. Both friends urged her to confide in Vernon immediately. Anita reflected on her recent trip to Chicago for Articulate's rehearsal, the longest she'd ever been apart from him, and how she refused to plant seeds of loss in his mind unless absolutely unavoidable. Sharon insisted Anita was borrowing trouble, behaving as if bad news was inevitable when everything would surely turn out fine, as it always did for her. Sensing potential old resentment in Sharon's tone, she clarified her intent, prompting Anita's sassy retort about not suddenly biting her tongue just because fear had gripped her life. "Girl, please," Anita exclaimed with fire, dissolving the room into shared laughter among the old friends. The moment shattered when Anita's phone rang. Dr. On requesting an in-person discussion of her biopsy results. Later, Vernon answered a call from Sharon, surprised to learn she was in town. She pushed for a meetup, but he hesitated amid family holiday commitments. Under her gentle pressure, he agreed to carve out time, unaware Tracy had overheard Sharon's secretive tone, and now demanded to know exactly who was on the line. Tracy refused to buy Sharon's flimsy telemarketer excuse, pressing for the truth. Leslie bumped into Ted at the nurse's station, thrilled that Peaches had regained some spark thanks to Ted's efforts securing her spot in the clinical trial. Ted modestly said he'd been happy to assist. When Leslie boldly invited herself as his date to Martin's holiday party, Ted firmly declined, believing arriving with the woman who'd upended his family wouldn't sit well. Leslie fired back that everyone should move past ancient history, and anyway, Ted hadn't been the only Dupree to stray. Ted assumed she meant Bill, but Leslie leaned in whisper close, revealing the true philanderer was Vernon Dupree himself. At Ted's stunned disbelief, she elaborated that Vernon's indiscretion wasn't old news. It was ongoing and shockingly, with one of Anita's own articulate sisters. In the quiet examination room, Anita sat rigidly as Dr. On entered, reading the doctor's somber expression and bracing for the worst. On confirmed her fears with gentle directness, informing the poised Anita Williams Dupree that her biopsy revealed breast cancer. The holiday season in Fairmont Crest swirled with unspoken fears, budding romances, hospital tensions and buried secrets threatening to surface, all while families clung to traditions amid uncertainty. Dani and Nicole's sisterly bond offered solace in heartbreak's aftermath. Hospital staff like Ashley and Shanice found humanity in thoughtful gestures amid daily grind, and Leslie's fiery protectiveness stirred both warmth and chaos around Peach's bedside. Andre and Vernon's alliance strengthened through shared confidences, even as whispers of infidelity loomed. Anita's world tilted on its axis with the devastating diagnosis, a shadow over the Dupree clan's festive plans, promising ripples of revelation, support, and resilience in the days ahead. The community beyond the gates pulsed with life's messy beauty, love rekindling, gifts symbolizing care, loyalties tested, and the quiet strength required to face illness head-on, reminding everyone that holidays, for all their sparkle, often carried the deepest emotions.